final stage. That is by hydrogen fuel cells. These hydrogen fuel cells are like batteries. You put them in the car, overnight you charge them, and next morning you can go up to 350 kilometers. And if petrol pumps become charging stations, then you can go unlimited as you are doing now. The Japanese are going to introduce Toyota cars with hydrogen fuel cells. We have also done research already, but this needs much more encouragement. And if our people willingly go, not for cushy jobs as scientists in some CSIR or something, but in fact to invent the way by which we can have hydrogen fuel cells. You will be saving tremendous amount of money. And we invent it, we can sell it to other countries. We sell it to all the countries. What the poor Arab countries will do, they will have to go back to their camels and their tents. That's what will happen. Because today, they are already facing tremendous economic crisis because their sole economy was on oil. They didn't build any industry. Go to Arab countries and see. It was a mistake on their part. They should have used their money to build an industrial base and find and work for substitutes. Israel has invented new ways of finding drinking water, that is by desalination of seawater. And they have found it through their instead of electricity, they are using solar energy. We have got the maximum sun exposure in this country. 12 months of the year you can see the sun. And there is no bitter winter like in America where for 4 months you can't do any agriculture. India you can do agriculture for 12 months of the year. For that you need water. Where is the water? In India, in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka is perennially fighting for Kaveri water. So one day they asked me, what is the solution in Tamil Nadu? I said, desalinate seawater. Put desalination plants along the Tamil Nadu coast and you will generate so much water that you can send water in the opposite direction of the Kaveri river and the Karnataka people can work. And even in agriculture, with simple innovations and improvements, we can make our agriculture the driver of our economy. Take for example, the number of cows we have, 150 million. And they give you only 200 liters per year. An Israeli cow gives you 11,000 liters per year. Now if 150 million cows start giving you 11,000 liters per year, then I will have to come from Kolhapur to Pune swimming in milk. That much milk. And our milk even today is 1/7 the price of milk in Europe. So why don't we sell it in Europe? Because there is no pasteurizing plant, there is no packaging plant, there is no bottling plant, there is no airfield in the rural areas which can connect to the bigger airports. None of these infrastructure work has been done. And therefore, we can't do it. Our crops are also cheaper. Rice is 1/6 the price in Japan and South Africa. But we are not able to export because we have no capacity to export that kind of thing. And the yield per acre of rice in India is one of the lowest in the world. In India, within India, on Indian land, Indian Council of Agricultural Research produces 6 times more rice on 1 acre of land than the farmer of India does. Why? Because they have got guaranteed water, electricity, pesticide, fertilizer. All these have to be provided. They are easy. There is no rocket science in this. So, if we do that, India will be an abundant producer of food grains. We can do agriculture 12 months of the year. Because there is sunshine, there is water. But Europe they cannot do. Because as I said, 5 months of the year or 4 months of the year, there is snowfall. That means we can grow 3 crops. But we are only growing in 25% of the land more than one crop. What a waste of land. So the potential for India is enormous. And we need a new younger generation. Whether it is in the IAS, IPS, or it's in these universities, it must now think of Indian problems and how to solve it. And that will, in my opinion, produce this country what we need, and you will be a new Indian. We are looking for a new Indian now. An Indian who is self-confident, who thinks that there is no problem we cannot solve. And if that happens, we will become a superpower. We have everything. We are more likely to be a superpower than China, because we have a financial system which works, unlike China. So therefore, you, the younger generation today, are sitting essentially on a great future for history. All our problems are solvable, and they have been solved in the past. So therefore, I would say to you, please think in dynamic terms. What is the way to conquer the future or the new horizons? Really think anew, think differently. Don't be afraid. Our people, our country, see, we have forgotten this questioning mind. Earlier on, when the Shankaracharya was there, he went all over the country holding debates. And in debates, he used to challenge people. He said, if you lose, then you must become a Hindu. If I lose, I'll join your religion, which was Buddhism at that time. And everywhere he went, he won by discussion. Because from childhood, we develop a questioning mind. And that is why we have never burnt religious books of any religion, even when we had to quarrel with them. Because we respected ideas. This was the tradition. And in our country, women and men were equal. Not necessarily equal in physical strength, but they were treated equally. Sometimes, in fact, they had their way. You look at the two great wars that we have fought, Ramayana and Mahabharata. What does it do? It was Draupadi's insistence that till I get the blood of Dushasana, I will not rest. I will not tie my hair. And ultimately, it led to war. In the case of Ramayana, it was the insistence of Kaikeyi which led to Ram going. And Ravan's killing was become necessary because of the obstinacy of Sita. Hanuman came to Lanka, saw Sita and said, he showed her the ring of Rama and convinced her that he was the representative of Rama, or Rama had sent him. Then he said, you sit on my back, I'll take you to Ram. She said, no, Ram must come here and kill Ram. Women were equal in their rights. That was our tradition. Once I was sitting with a friend of mine, I said, let me compose the heavenly cabinet. I said, who should be Prime Minister? They said, Brahma. So I said, Deputy Prime Minister is Shiva and Vishnu. Then I said, okay, let's take important portfolios, who should get what. Who will get defense? Lakshmi. Who will me? Durga. Who will get finance? Lakshmi. Who will get education? Saraswati. I said, male God will not get anything. So he said, no, one portfolio is there for male God. Information broadcasting for Narad Muni. These 1,000 years have changed the position of women. But now we see young people. You should develop a new mindset. You should tell your parents, I'll never accept dowry. You should consciously see that in your mind you have no prejudice against women. You should not insist that they should stay home and cook food. They are equally intelligent. In fact, I see these school exams, I find all the girls are coming first, second and third. Boys are being relegated. So, therefore, this total population, men and women, that was our tradition. There are a lot of wrong things happening to women in our country, but that is the aberration that we can cure in no time. But the mindset should be that men and women are equal. And that will produce the opportunity for you to conquer the future. So what I would like to say to you is 4 or 5 things. One, please be clear about your identity, which in Sanskrit we call it asmita. Your citizenship is Bharatiya, because we have a constitution. And the constitution, that means we are a republic, and it describes who is a citizen of India. A citizen of India is Bharatiya, but that is not your identity. What is your identity? Your identity is what connects you to this country, what connects you to other Indians, not just passport of your Indian citizenship doesn't connect you to somebody else. So you are in this country, what? Well, this country is a continuing civilization. The UNESCO itself has certified it. They listed all the civilizations that existed in the world, and they listed 46. And they found 45 have disappeared. Greece has disappeared as a civilization. It's a new civilization now, new country. Rome disappeared. Egypt disappeared. Mesopotamia disappeared. Similarly, Babylon, Iran or Persia. And all these, out of these 46, 45 disappeared. The only country that is a continuing civilization is the Hindu civilization of India. Well, if you are secular, then how you can say Hindu civilization? Well, there are in this country those people who are Muslims. There are in this country those who are Christians. They cannot be excluded, that is true. But how do we include them? I recently saw a study by the Journal of Genetics in University of Cambridge and also in University of Mysore. And that says that all Indians have the same DNA. Which means what? That whether you are a Brahmin or a scheduled caste, your DNA is the same. Because Varna was never birth-based. Like Lord Krishna says in the Gita, it was connected with gunas. If you participated in learning and you made the necessary sacrifice for it, then you are a Brahmin. If you picked up the sword to defend the country, you are a Kshatriya. If you made money and created wealth, you are a Vaishya. And if you are in agriculture, you are a Shudra. And nobody born in this Shudra family is necessarily a Shudra. Nobody born in Kshatriya family is necessarily a Kshatriya. He must have those disciplines of a Kshatriya. For example, Vishwamitra was born in a Kshatriya family. But he became Maharishi because he became a scholar. So was Vedavyasa. His mother was a fisherwoman. Kalidasa was cutting trees in the branches of trees in the forest. He was a Vanvasi. He became Maharishi, Mahakavi. Valmiki was a Dalit, born in a Dalit family. Became a Maharishi. It was not connected with birth. And there was no such thing as Brahmin supremacy as these people are, these leftist communists are all the time talking about. Ravan was a Brahmin. And he was killed by a Kshatriya. And the Brahmins of this country worship Rama. Not, they don't say, oh, our Brahmin was killed by this Kshatriya. They don't say that. They never do. Unfortunately, the British filled our brain with all this rubbish about we being Aryans and Dravidians. That one day there was, at one stage, India was only full of Dravidians, and the Aryans came from Khyber Pass. and beat up the Dravidians and broke themselves. And they created a political movement called Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam. Many times I found that the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam was celebrating Ramalila, not Ramlila. So I asked Karunanidhi, what is this? So he said, because Rama is North Indian. And this Ravan, he is a Dravidian, South Indian god. I told him when Ravan was born in north of Delhi, in a town, a village called Basra. He said, no, not true. I took out the Tamil version of the Ramayana, Kaman Ramayana, and there it is written there. I showed it to him. I showed him Valmiki Ramayana. Ravan was born in the north, went to Mansarovar, did puja to Lord Shiva, who gave him a boon, and then he said, which is the country I can, which is the place I can conquer. And he found that his cousin, Kuber, was ruling in Sri Lanka, and he had made it into a wonderful place. So he went and conquered it and became the king. Finally, Karunanidhi got convinced. And he stopped Ramalila. But he still is against Rama. They are not Indian, I can't accept. One day the Supreme Court was arguing on the Ram Setu matter. I said, Ram Setu, such a splendorous thing, 49 kilometers from Dhanushkodi, the Rameshwaram island, to Gulf of Mannar, to the coast of Sri Lanka, Kalai Mannar, and I said that this has to be protected. So Karnataka got very upset. He said, who is Swamy to call this Ram Setu? Was Rama an engineer? Which engineering college did he get his degree from? Next day he fell ill and he had to be taken to hospital. And the hospital name was Ramchandra Medical Hospital. So I wrote him a letter, please make sure that he has at least MBBS after a day. Otherwise we get the wrong medicines. Now, this is the kind of thing that has been fed into our brain. People say the Northeast people are all Chinese. No, they are not Chinese. They are Thai people who came and settled down in India and accepted Hinduism and founded a kingdom called the Ahom dynasty, which never allowed the Mughals to cross into Burma. They defeated them thrice. But there is nothing in the history book about that. There is hardly anything about Guru Gobind Singh. With 5 people, he uprooted the entire Mughal dynasty. So, these are the questions by which we have become a confused country. We don't feel one. I am telling you that there is no difference between the intellectual capacity of a scheduled caste and the intellectual capacity of a Brahmin. And this has been tested. Ambedkar was a Dalit. And you see what happened. His name was not Ambedkar, it was Bhimrao Mahar. And his teacher was a Brahmin. And his name was Ambedkar. And he told him, you are a very bright boy. You must go abroad and study. But there will be a lot of prejudice against you. We'll let you go. So, you take my name. And nobody by seeing the form will be able to decide that you are a scheduled caste. So he took the name Ambedkar. And therefore he became Bhimrao Ambedkar. He went to Columbia University, got a PhD in 1916, that's 100 years ago, in the theory of monetary economics. First class thesis he wrote. Then he went to England and got a law degree. Then he came to India and Sardar Patel made him chairman of the drafting committee of the Constitution. And he produced the first class Constitution. And instead of praising him, I'm sorry to say the congressmen never respected him. They did not give him Bharat Ratna until 1990 when there was no Congress government, there was a Janata government. Even Sardar Patel in 1991, I was law minister Minister Chandrasekhar one day told me, we have Republic Day coming, we have to give some, we may consider giving some Bharat Ratna and find out who we should give to. I said, let me look at the old list. And I found out to my surprise that Sardar Patel's name was not in the list. He was 3-4 times recommended, but his name was struck off. The first the Bharat Ratna was instituted in 1954. In 1955, when the award was being given, Jawaharlal Nehru wrote that Jawaharlal Nehru should get Bharat Ratna. No problem, but at least next year we should have given to Sardar Patel. 1991, the person who integrated India, 500 kingdoms he merged into India. That man had to wait till the Janata government came in 1991 and get the Bharat Ratna. Ambedkar didn't get it. Now, but the prejudice against Ambedkar remained. But anyone who was a greater intellectual than Jawaharlal Nehru. Jawaharlal Nehru, he went to Cambridge and he failed there. I don't think any member of the Nehru family has ever passed an examination. Once Sonia Gandhi said that she had passed, then I found out I got a letter from Cambridge that there was no such thing. Anyway, there's nothing wrong. But you can't discriminate against people because you don't like them or you're jealous of them. Never they called Dr. Ambedkar as a great scholar. He was ridiculed, he was defeated in 3 successive Lok Sabha elections by the Congress Party. But Jawaharlal Nehru, when he came back, he was called Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. The man who failed the exam, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. The man who got a PhD, Bhim Rao. Ambedkar qualified to be a Pandit, and not Jawaharlal Nehru. But this is because of my Pandit. So I am telling you all these caste divisions that are taken, that are there in our country, because of that. There is no difference between a Hindu and Muslim in DNA. And if the Muslims were willingly accept the truth, which is that their ancestors were Hindus, then we will all become part of one family. So these are the ways in which your mind has to change. You must now regard yourself as a nation of one people. Not somebody came from here, somebody went there, this difference is there, that difference is there, somebody this caste, that caste. These are our enemies are active in this to divide us. And therefore we should make full attempt to become one. So my advice to you all is, you have a great future ahead. This country will come out because it is destined to. All these Rishi Munis whose sacrifices are taking place, including the great sage who founded this ISKCON, all these people have spent their lives to bring India into its original glory. Because of their karmas, India will become a great country. But you can contribute to it. You can contribute to it by definitely showing yourself as an Indian and nothing but an Indian. Or a Hindustani. Hindustani is your identity, Indian is your citizenship. And therefore, India of 120 plus crore people will be a mighty country once we begin to solve our problems. There is no problem of India which cannot be solved. There is plenty of abundance of everything. It's a question of applying our mind to it and making this country great again. That mentality, that mental framework, that mindset you have to develop, that I will not only improve myself, but I'll work to see that the nation improves with me. That mindset is what we need. Thank you very much.
thank you very much for the enlightening lecture and the golden words of wisdom. Now I understand what Going Through said. You are really a guru of voice and you have your own kind of war within India. Thank you for giving us the impetus to solve the problems of our country, become an essential part of our country.